You have been bulking for a while now, and the time has come to cut down and reveal all of that hard work. But how should you approach going about this? Should you change the style in which you train, or do the calories change? How much do the calories change? Let's get into all of those things. First, it's really helpful to know how many calories you've been eating on that bulk. So if you already know how many calories, that's a good start. If you eat 3,000 calories on your bulk, what I want you to do is take 500 calories away from that. Now, even if you don't exactly know how many calories that you eat, I recommend you take about 500 away from that. But a really good idea for somebody like you is to track your calories for a week, use MyFitnessPal, it's free, figure out how many calories you eat on your bulk, and then take 500 away. The goal of taking 500 calories away from this bulk is to lose around 1 to 2 pounds of body fat on the scale every single week. That should be closer to 1 pound of fat loss per week. 2 pound is at the most. Anything over 2 pounds, you're eating way too low calories. You don't want to start losing that body fat too quickly. If you take away those 500 calories and don't see the results that you need, it's fine to take another 200. Just start out with that 500 for the first week and then adjust those calories accordingly based on that 1 to 2 pounds of fat loss per week. There's no need to gradually transition from the bulk to cut and eat at maintenance and then take 100 calories away. It's all wasted time. There's no need for that. Although, like I said, I do not recommend losing body fat really quickly, and that's for two reasons. First of all, the number one thing we want to do on a cut is lose body fat, but we also want to retain muscle. That's the goal. We've built that muscle during the bulk, so we need to maintain as much of that muscle as possible while losing body fat. The second big reason why you would not want to, let's say, take 1,000 calories right away is because if 4 weeks later you hit a plateau, you stop losing body fat, you go from 2,800 calories to 1,800 calories, and you've taken 1,000 away, you have nowhere else to go. Whereas if you take 500 calories away, and then let's say 4 weeks later you hit some kind of plateau, you can take another 300 calories from that. But if you take too much, then you can't keep lowering your calories. Because the goal of this cut for you is to lose body fat, but also to maintain the muscle that you've built, what we don't want to do is lower fat. If you lower your fat intake, fat is extremely important for producing hormones such as testosterone. So when I say don't lower fat, you can lower fat slightly, but don't take a big chunk of that fat out of your diet because it's very important. We also don't want to lower protein, and certainly not by much, because protein is what's going to obviously help us maintain the muscle. So the calories are really coming from your carbohydrates. You are going to be eating less carbohydrates to lower those calories. You might also wonder how your training should change during a cut. The biggest mistake people make, and it's the biggest mistake I made as a beginner when it came to transitioning from a bulk to a cut, is you think you've lifted really heavy during your bulk, now you're going to lift high reps, 15 to 20 reps, light weights, and that's going to help you burn more fat and shorter rest periods. It's a big mistake. When you go on that cut, you need to lift heavy weights, at least moderately heavy, sort of 6 to 10 reps. And the reason is because you need to teach your muscles, teach your body, the weight that you've gained, the muscle you've gained is still required of it. Because if you try and eat lower calories and lose body fat, your body will discard of extra muscle that it doesn't want, because to your body, it's just extra weight that it doesn't need. So you have to lift heavy, eat the protein, and then that will allow you to retain the muscle that you built on that bulk. Remember, when it comes to your training, don't try to get stronger. On a cut, most of you are not going to get stronger. The goal is to try and maintain your current strength. You may lose some strength, that's fine, but really the goal is to lose body fat and just maintain your strength, maintain your muscle, not try and build, because most likely you're not going to build any strength or muscle during a cut. As your cut progresses, once you start to get leaner and leaner and leaner, your workouts will become more difficult. You will become slightly more fatigued. So if you was already on a very high volume training plan, which I don't recommend anyway, but if you was doing 18 sets per body part per week, that's very high volume. So towards the end of that cut, you might want to take it down to 12 sets per week per body part, or 15 sets per week per body part. Just lower that volume slightly. And that's not for everybody, just for the people that are training with really high volume anyway, which like I said I don't recommend. You would probably benefit from just lowering that volume slightly. When this cut finally comes to an end, then you can transition right back into a bulk again. There's no need to start waiting and doing all these extra things in the middle. Just transition straight back to a bulk. What I would say is be careful with how many calories you put on. So just add an extra 500 calories or an extra 300. I would say just add an extra 300-400 calories, nice and slow for the first 1 or 2 weeks, and make sure you don't gain too much weight too quickly, and then start the whole process again. The video that's on screen right now, I want you guys to go through and watch next. It's bulking mistakes that people make when they're on a bulk. You want to watch that video, make sure you're not making any of these mistakes next time you go onto your bulk. So click through and watch that.